Hello there guys, RMP792 here. Well, I might as well go 3 for 3 and talk about this week's Doctor Who as well, shall I? Ah boy. I think I can lead with I bloody knew it. I knew they were not going to actually kill off Clara properly and they were just going to bring her back. And all I can say is, wrong decision, guys. Completely the wrong decision. It took away literally the only thing that made her interesting as a character. And I'm going to immediately start off by pointing out to everyone that is going to say, oh, but she's still going to die. She's still got to return there. Yes, but she is functionally immortal until she does. She can literally spend millennia pootling around the galaxy with Shielder, who is also immortal. And she will live longer than the rest of us, basically, instead of dying like they should have just left it. So yeah, that was a cop-out. I was not a fan of that. The rest of the episode, a few nice scenes. There were some moments that I really liked, but overall, yeah, pretty disappointing episode, frankly. So let's go through this vaguely from the beginning. So, Doctor's back on Gallifrey. Okay. The High Council is clearly not that pleased about it, and they send some guys to go and arrest him. And the Doctor basically just kind of draws a line in the sand and walks back in and completely ignores them. This I like. That this shows that he can quite happily stand up to them at this point. Back in the old days, especially sort of the first couple of Doctors, he was terrified of the Time Lords because they were stupidly powerful. And by now, he's got a sufficient amount of respect within the population of Gallifrey itself that they can't just pull this stuff with him anymore. And then you've got the more, higher and higher ranks of people being sent to get him, and him just kind of ignoring them because who cares? And then finally, the President turns up, and I finally realised where I recognised that actor from. He was in Game of Thrones. And he was completely wasted. There was basically no point to him being in that story at all. While it's a nice scene having the Doctor tell off the Presidents of the Time Lords, it did not add anything at all to the story. The fact that it was meant to be Rassilon, okay. I mean, again, Rassilon was a complete raging nut job if you really know much about sort of Time Lord history, and the fact that they effectively brought him back to life for the Time War, okay, I'll let them do that. At least when Timothy Dalton played him, he played him completely over the top and ridiculous. Here, he had basically nothing to do, and that was a problem, because the guy playing him isn't a bad actor at all. But his performance was just very flat, because he just had nothing to do with it. And he goes away, and he's just gone from the rest of the story. So that entire plot point felt like it went completely nowhere. And yes, I like the scene of all the Time Lords, just dropping their guns and walking over and joining the Doctor. Yes, nice scene. And then the Doctor convinces them that he needs to use, I'm assuming it's the Time Scoop or something, very similar, in order to get Clara out of her time stream from just, literally the second before she dies, basically. And yeah, okay, fair enough if you're going to do something interesting with it, which they didn't. I still maintain that was a mistake, frankly. Clara should have stayed dead. I'm not going to keep harping on about that, but death basically is completely meaningless now. It was already pretty meaningless, if we're honest about this in Doctor Who, but it's now completely meaningless. So, yeah, you've got the scene where he uses effectively, it might be the Time Scoop, they might have given it a specific name, whatever it was. He uses some swanky Gallifreyan device. And then determinately sort of, yes, okay, we're going to run away, and you're going to be safe and alive, even though technically you're frozen in time. How is this possible? Time Lords are really clever. Okay, fair enough. I'm okay with that kind of hand-wavy explanation. But yeah, then you have the general basically saying, "Nope, sorry, you can't do this. I have to stop you." Just points a gun at him. Well, how many regenerations do you have? 10. Good luck. And just shoots him. Seriously? Yeah, that felt completely pointless. And the Time Lord General becoming a Time Lady General, fine. I mean, honestly, it felt to me like that entire sequence was just to say to all the people who are still in denial that yes, Time Lords can change gender when they regenerate. Which it's been hinted at pretty much since the beginning of New Who, and it's been flat out stated on a couple of occasions, and then the Master became Missy. I think it was pretty much confirmed. It didn't feel like we needed another, yes, this could happen, we can make the Doctor a woman if we want to moment. But whatever, completely pointless scene again. Then you've got the stuff where they're in the cloister below the Matrix. Again, interesting idea that the Matrix itself is actually guarded effectively by the personalities within, and most of those personalities are dead Time Lords. Because the Matrix is kind of an interesting idea that's been kind of... The thing about the Matrix is that very much it depends who was writing the episode as to what the Matrix is. So it honestly, I'd need an entire separate video and about half a dozen flowcharts in order to fully explain the Matrix, and I'll be honest, I don't think I understand it completely, largely because it's been very inconsistent as to how it's been portrayed, so I'm not even going to try. But so yeah, again, interesting idea. While we're at it, what was the point of having the Sisterhood of Khan there? Because the Sisterhood of Khan do not like the Time Lords and vice versa, and yet they were perfectly happy working together, and no, I have no idea. Then you've got, and Clara distracting them while the Doctor goes and nicks another TARDIS, and original console room design, yes. Yeah, okay, the classic Whovian in me really loved that. I will be honest, that was gorgeous. And yeah, again, there are lots of little elements of this that I really like, but the overall thing was just really, really weak. Because after that, he attempts to run away, and her heart's going to restart because she's whatever it was, and you're thinking, no, this isn't going to work, Doctor, and you know it. When he runs right to the end of time itself, the heat death of the universe, and finds that the shield is just kind of sitting there waiting for him. Which, so that technology is really, really good. I mean, let's face it, her body is basically meant to be being maintained by nanites or something of that ilk. Which, okay, fair enough, I'm fine with that, but they've lasted for that long? That is some really well-made stuff. And by that logic, shouldn't it be keeping the Maya alive for that long? Or is it a simple fact that, they'd gotten to one war too many and just all got wiped out? Because they did basically say that they'll keep her alive and they'll keep healing her, but, they can't heal sort of, catastrophic damage. So if she gets her head cut off, she ain't going to survive that kind of thing. But there can be only one, of course. Sorry, couldn't resist the Highlander reference. Anyway, so yeah, and again, it's a nice scene between the two of them, and they go on about the hybrid plot, and frankly, what was the point of that? It's the whole, that the hybrid will stand in the ruins of Gallifrey. Yeah, that's pretty much what they were doing. After the heat death of the universe, Gallifrey is kind of in ruins, as you would expect, because there's nobody left alive. So that plot point just petered out entirely. And the question of who the hybrid is, I don't know. I don't care. I'll be honest. It was not a particularly interesting point to begin with. So you had the, so Shielder is the hybrid, or is it the Doctor and Clara together are the hybrid, and God knows, I don't know. There's also some implication that, it's just the Doctor and he spent so much time on Earth that he's practically part human, which almost feels like a reference to the line from the Paul McGann movie about how he's half human on his mother's side, that I'm pretty sure has been expunged from canon. And this is Doctor Who. Everything is canon. I bet Doctor Who fan fiction is pretty much considered canon. So if you've ever written any weird, smutty Doctor Who fan fiction, congratulations. The BBC pretty much assumes that happened. But yeah, and then you have the scene where he basically ends up forgetting her, or forgetting Clara, I should say, and he ends up waking up in Nevada, and he ends up in that diner that they were in is that the Impossible Astronaut? Something like that. It's the diner that he meets River and Rory in. And the diner turns out to be a TARDIS, and okay, yeah, again, I like the idea that they've used the chameleon circuit to effectively create a diner around the TARDIS shell. The idea that the chameleon circuits are now broken and they're stuck as an American diner is stupid, because at this point it's basically just become a running joke that the chameleon circuit is the least reliable piece of technology ever created. It seems to work once and then break. And every time you try to fix it, you just end up breaking it worse, so it's not worth trying. So, let's be honest, that shot right at the end of the the TARDIS flying off and spinning through space, I've always found the TARDIS spinning through space thing kind of stupid. The fact that there was an American diner spinning through space and going in the other direction, oh god, that was silly. It was really silly. It was one of those things where I was laughing, but I wasn't sure if I was meant to be laughing. I wasn't sure if I was laughing because it was meant to be a joke, or because it was so stupid. Which is never really a good sign. But, yeah, overall, the problem was the episode felt like it went absolutely nowhere. I don't know what the Doctor's relationship to the Time Lords is now. I don't know what repercussions Gallifrey Big Back is going to have. I don't know if the fact that Clara's been plucked out of a time stream is going to damage the continuum in some way, because it was implied that it could. And there's actually a long-running arc in the Big Finish stuff where the Doctor basically saves the life of a young girl called Charlotte Pollard, because she's meant to die on board the R101, and he basically ends up saving her life, and they go poodling off and travelling together. And this basically creates tears in the fabric of reality because it wasn't supposed to happen. And it's actually quite an interesting sort of long-running storyline. But, I don't know if they're going to do something like that, or if they're just going to kind of hand-wave it away as, nah, she'll be fine. As long as she goes back and dies there sooner or later, the timeline will be absolutely fine. Sorry, chords. But, yeah, overall, it just was not a good episode because it didn't have any kind of focus. It bounced around all over the place. Lots of cool individual moments, but nothing that worked together as a whole. And that really is the big problem with it. It just had no focus, had no point, and it was just massively disappointing, especially after last week was a really good episode. So, yeah. The Christmas special will be out in a couple of weeks, and that hopefully won't suck. I genuinely don't know. It's always difficult to tell. Christmas specials. Well, for one thing, I wish they'd actually stop setting them on Christmas or even Space Christmas. Just have an episode. You don't need to throw in a novelty Santa hat or whatever. But, we'll see. So yes, that was my thoughts on Hellbent, which, yeah, it wasn't very good. Yeah, ultimately. So, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in future videos.